Newton County Solid Waste Landfill is going to be our next item on the agenda. Commissioner Maddox.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Since the landfill is in my district, I wanted to read the comments and make the same motion that I had prepared for last Thursday. After reflecting on comments made over the last week from citizens and business owners, it is important to say clearly that this board has listened to their concerns and will apply those concerns as we move forward. I believe the citizens and the overall community recognize that there are significant financial challenges within our solid waste management model. But most importantly, the citizens do not believe the current proposal will dramatically improve our situation and want other options explored. With that, I move to table the current landfill settlement proposed by Green Hill to allow for a minimum 60-day independent review, free of conflicts, to be led by the county manager. This review should also explore other options and opportunities for our overall solid waste management program. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
And we'll be looking at April the 7th. And Commissioner Douglas, did you have something to say?
April the 7th for what, Mr. Chairman?
The date would be April 7th that it would be tabled to. That'd be 16.
No, May 7th. May meeting.
Hey, I'm sorry, you're right. I got it. Thank you. That's my other table in a few minutes. Sorry.
Time flies when you have it fun.
Yeah, I know. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask Commissioner Maddox if I could propose a part 2 to his motion. I guess you call it an amendment, but it's more like a part 2 to his motion.
It would be an amendment if he'll allow an amendment. You want to tell us what that amendment is?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to amend his motion so that the county commission would form a citizens committee. One person per commissioner, including the chairman, to be chaired, as he said, by the county manager, and their charge would be twofold. One, how to stop the bleeding of $2.5 million a year that we're losing right now in the landfill, and at the same time, how to protect the residents of that area. I would ask in this motion that they bring a recommendation back to the county commission not later than June 1st to our meeting here on June 1st. I would also put in the motion that their meetings will be public and that they be able to listen to all the stakeholders, that is, all the people who have an interest in what's going on. So that's the amendment I'd like to put on your motion, Mr. Maddox.
Commissioner Maddox, would you permit that? Commissioner Sims, you seconded that motion. Would you commit? Okay. Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My comment is this, Mr. Chairman. I think we have kind of went over this over the last, I don't know, several months. And I just don't believe that we need to have our citizens, the Spring Hill community or any community, to continue to come to a commission meeting over the next 3 months. I think that we should, as a board, since we had time to talk about it and we dealt with it, I think for several weeks as it is, and I can't speak for nobody else, but I'm ready to make a decision. I think that we should make a decision here this evening as far as we voted up or we voted down.
Thank you for your comment. Commissioner, lady first, Schultz.
Thank you, Chairman. I, as many of you, have spent the last 2 weeks reviewing the documents for this potential landfill settlement agreement and ongoing operation of the landfill. It is important to me that I'm true to my commitment to transparency and provide disclosure to the public. For over 25 years, my business has done business with Mr. Stribling's family. His family business, Bulk Aggregate, has a reputation in the golf business of integrity, and I have no doubt that Mr. Stribling's character is honorable. Likewise, Mr. Hodges and Mr. Norman are highly regarded in matters related to landfills. However, this settlement agreement is not just about personalities or reputation. This is a decision that will affect our community long past my lifetime. Last Tuesday night, Mr. Garrett provided this board with a presentation of the financial impact of the landfill, first by continuing the status quo, and then a comparison with Green Hill as the operator. Either way, we must make tough choices as a community. His presentation is on the Newton County website, and the stark reality is that we've been engaged in a lawsuit for 17 years. So how do we settle this lawsuit responsibly? There's no question in my mind that we cannot continue to operate using the status quo model. It will bankrupt this county, leaving future generations to pay for our unwillingness to change. No matter how much we dislike having a landfill, it's unrealistic to believe that we can exist in a world without waste. So the question I continue to ask as I read through this settlement is, do these agreements provide the citizens of Newton County the best resolution of the lawsuit and the best strategy for handling our waste? At this point, I believe we still have much work to do. I've stated on numerous occasions and in the newspaper that I believe we need an independent review of our options, as stated by Mr. Maddox in his motion. As of tonight, I am reaffirming that perspective. When I attended the meeting at the Spring Hill community, I sat behind Sierra Benton and Anika Johnson, both classmates of my own children. Seated next to Sierra was her infant daughter, Nyla. 25 years from now, I want to be able to look Nyla in the face and say, we made a good decision here. And I do not believe we are at a point where we can make a decision tonight. We still need the community to help us make the right decision. And that means exploring alternative options to what we have today.
Oh, let's see. I think it's over here, but I'm not sure.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate Commissioner Schultz's comments and Commissioner Henderson as well. Clearly, this commission has not been able to find the answer to the two problems that we face. Now, like I said, how to stop the hemorrhaging of money and how to protect the residents. We just don't have the answer. But look at all the possible answers and ideas sitting right in front of us. Why hold them at arm's length? Why not invite them in and say, okay, take it for 60 days or 90 days or whatever it takes, and come out and tell us what you do. Particularly residents of that area. Let them have say so. They're the ones that put us up here. So Mr. Chairman and members of the commission, I think, frankly, on this issue, it's time we started listening to the taxpayers. Thank you.
Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is my last comment. I can't speak for nobody else, but that's exactly what we've been doing, Commissioner Douglas, listen to our constituency. And what they have clearly said, unless I'm wrong, maybe they can tell us, and they don't want no more landfill, not a bigger dump in their community. That's what they said. I don't know, what more conversation do we need to have? Either we support privatizing or we support the people.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We're facing over $2 million a year loss. And we're also facing...
All right. If you would, let the commissioner speak. We appreciate your... Go ahead.
We're facing over $2 million a year loss. At the same time, we're facing a community for the last 20 plus years that had to deal with the landfill. So there's two issues. And actually, there's a third issue. We're dealing with the lawsuit. There's only one way we can get through this, and that is to work together. Work together with the community. And last Thursday, there were other issues brought up outside of the landfill, issues that this community has been dealing with for over 20 years, from road issues, from buzzards, from smell, from lack of parks, lack of a lot of things. And this community has been overlooked. So I think it's time that not only we work on this landfill, but let's work on this community as a whole, working with them. You know, we went out 2 or 3 weeks ago and met at Good Hope Baptist Church. And we got a chance to fellowship and talk to the people and see some of the things that hadn't been brought to our attention. And a lot of times, sitting up here as a board of commissioner, you don't see a lot of things or hear a lot of things unless you get a packed room or unless you call your commissioner. So I commend everybody for being here tonight. I commend everybody for being here last week. Whatever you got to do to make us here, you're doing it. So I really appreciate everybody showing up. And I'm personally have reached out tonight to several people in the community. So let's sit down, let's talk about this, let's work together, because that's the only way we're going to get through it. I mean, we're faced with that 2-point-whatever million dollar loss, and we got to deal with it. But we can only deal with it working together. Thank you.
Commissioners, my remarks are I had the opportunity to speak to each of you on the phone or in person today, and to a person, each one of you felt the same way, that we needed some more time in order to study this and make good decisions, because I think that's Gladstone Nicholson's here, and he sent out an email that was tremendous. I should have copied it, but it talked about deliberation and really thinking through things. Yesterday, a good group of people came into my office. We sat together and we talked. And they asked me a lot of questions. And I didn't know all the answers. And sometime about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I drew the same conclusion as these commissioners did. We need more time. We've got to think about it. It does cost us a lot of money, and it is costing us a lot of money, but it has. But at least we picked the can up off the ground that's been there for a long period of time. And we've looked at that soup can, and we tried to determine how old it was, how many dents it has, and we're going to solve this problem, and we're going to let you work with us. Commissioners, we have a motion on the floor. I'm not exactly sure what the date is. Maybe you can tell me the date again? Okay. And so that's going to be a citizens committee, and they're going to look at all aspects. And we have a motion and an approved second. If there's no further discussion, all in favor of that motion, please raise your right hand. All opposed? Carries 4-1.